Reset. I'm Susie on in for Sasha Ann Simons. If you're not familiar with IO, you're definitely familiar with some of its notable alumni. People like Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, Bob Odenkirk, and more. With us today to talk about that legacy and what to expect in the future is IO co-founder Charna Halpern. Welcome, Charna.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, what can you tell us about the sale of the theater?
Well, as you know, we were mandated closed because of the pandemic, and after a year and a half, it just became very difficult to maintain it and to reopen. And the city was not very helpful. Yeah. And so I've sold the building and the brand, and these are people who claim that they want to bring back IO, that they love the theater, and that's their plan. And that's all I know.
So I'm getting that maybe they haven't shared too many details yet about their plans when they reopen.
Well, right now, they have a lot of work to do. They have to get licensing. The whole roof has to be rebuilt. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I couldn't reopen. It was going to be over $250,000 just to rebuild the roof. So they have a lot of work to do before they even get to that. But they have met with some of my employees, my key employees, because they would want to work with them again. They tell me that they would want to work with me in some capacity, but it just all remains to be seen.
I imagine it was a tough and sad decision to let IO go.
It was. It was very sad. I mean, I didn't think in the beginning it was going to happen because the mayor said we were all in this together, but that they still made you pay property tax even though you had no income. And now, again, when I closed, I felt, I was upset that I was mandated closed, but I felt like the governor and the mayor were doing what was best for people, and it was my civic duty to stay closed. But now when I see Lollapalooza and the fact that COVID's on the rise and this variant is on the rise, I feel like it didn't matter to them that IO and other people like me lost their businesses because, there was no point for me not to be able to open. We could have masks, Mm-hmm. It's going to be the super spreader now. We also lost a major theater in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I guess I
feel a little taken advantage of on that they would just allow Lollapalooza. I guess they're making money on Lollapalooza, so it's okay for them to leave that open, but close your theaters. That's a good move, Chicago.
Yeah. That's a tough one. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's turn to some happier times from the theater.
Okay.
What are some of your best memories there?
Well, I've been in business 40 years, so I have great memories. I mean, all the people that came through the theater, as you mentioned, some of the biggest directors in the world, like John Favreau and Adam McKay. I mean, I hung out with the funniest people in the world, and it was an opportunity. I worked very closely with Saturday Night Live and helped them with their auditions every year so that they could get talent. So I was happy that I was helping change lives. I was helping to give people work, I was helping people get agents and get auditions and get TV shows. Look at Seth Meyers, who took his whole team with him as the writing staff. So those are the memories, the people's lives I changed. And I still hear from them, and I still get their thanks. It's just sad because this was Mecca, for improvisation from worldwide. And it's changed because of this, because we had to close down.
Did you consider maybe taking just a hiatus, just hitting pause on the theater's work when you were kind of mulling through the different options?
Well, in the beginning, but then, like I said, I had to pay a $230,000 property tax bill. I had to fix a roof that was going to be over $250,000. And all this money was coming from my own pocket. Suddenly, after talking to my accountant, he said, Charna, you got to sell this building or you're not going to be able to turn the lights on in your house. You just can't keep it going. I was hoping that the city would say, hey, you don't have any income. Let's hold off on property tax. Let's get people back on their feet. But they didn't. This idea that we were in this together was far from the truth.
Yeah. This is Reset. I'm Susie on in for Sasha Ann Simons, and we're talking about a second act for IO Theater. The famed Chicago institution has built a reputation as a place that helped launch future stars like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. After shutting its doors last summer, IO Theater has acquired new owners who intend to reopen the theater. My guest today is former owner and co-founder of IO Theater, Charna Halpern. Charna, before IO closed, there was a petition started by performers. They wanted the theater to adopt a strategy to be more welcoming and inclusive. As the theater gets set to reopen, where do those efforts stand?
You have to talk to the new owners about that. when they called me, these were people who really didn't know IO, and they went after every theater that was owned by somebody who was white. The things that they were demanding of me were things I already had done. They wanted me to step down from making the teams, which I had done 15 years ago. So they wanted a commission to make the teams, which I had also done 15 years ago. We had the Herald Commission, which was comprised of diversity, people of all different backgrounds. Mm-hmm. So, and as I told them, I would be happy to meet with them, but, they were demanding that I hire people now. I was like, we're in a pandemic, we're closed. I had to let my employees go. I mean, there was like this illogic to speaking with them about it. But I told them in the future, we certainly want to hear everyone. We don't want anyone to be unhappy at IO. That's just not what we're about. But again, I couldn't do anything about it. There was no point in hiring anyone when it was closed. But, the new owners certainly know about it, and I'm sure that they'll find ways to address the situation. Again, I don't own it anymore, so I can't speak for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, in that petition,
but they seem like smart men. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Well, in that petition, they called on you, and I'm quoting here, to publicly acknowledge and apologize for the institutional racism perpetuated at IO. Do you believe there was institutional racism at IO?
I don't believe that. I think, again, it's people that didn't know IO. I had a diversity program, which I wasn't funded for. I had a certain amount of people that went in each program that were free. I was giving people work. I mean, one of the reporters talked to somebody, and they said that Charna has a personal history of racism, and he asked her if she could cite an example. And she said, no, and we don't have to. So, that's the kind of thing you're dealing with. They even called my friend Ali Farnakian, who owned the pit, and they went after him as well. And he said, hey, I'm not even white. I'm an immigrant. I can't even vote. What are you coming after me for? And then they dropped it. So it's like, I think it was just their mission to go after everyone. I don't feel personally hurt because I don't personally feel that they knew me or knew what I was doing or what I've done. So, mm-hmm. We had a good mix of people, and it was a very happy place, And again, if people weren't happy, my plan was when I opened to meet with these people and to discuss and see how we can help everyone be happy. But it just never got that far, unfortunately.
Any advice you'd want to pass on to the new owners in this effort?
Just to make sure you're completely diverse and have maybe to sit down with these new people. I'm sure that once they're ready to open, these people will contact them and, find a way to make things work. That's what you have to do. You have a lot of different people who are complaining. I mean, over 40 years, you can't believe some of the complaints I've got. There's not enough women in this show. There's no men in that show, and you just constantly get complaints, and you have to sit down and deal with it and fix the problem. You try to make everyone happy. That's how you run a happy theater.
Well, as IO gets set to reopen in the future, hopefully in the near future, what do you hope to see of this second act for IO?
Well, I hope it's just more of the same. I hope we get people performing, and we get my teachers back, my employees running the place because they know how to do it. I would love to help in any capacity if they want me to keep doing the Saturday Night Live auditions or just to teach. I mean, I really, for 40 years, I was in charge. I was doing everything, and I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to get involved in the work, which is why I got into improv in the first place. I love the work. I didn't like hanging out with lawyers and accountants and all that kind of stuff. I just want to do the work. So if they want me back, I'll be happy. That's what I love to do.
Is that what you hope is next for you? Is just, being able to get involved with, the fun side of it, the projects?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my next chapters. There's also a movie being made about me and Del with Kay Cannon, and I'm going to, of course, work with the new writer on that and do some writing on my own for some other projects. So, yeah, I think that, and maybe teaching and looking at the students and running auditions, that might be a fun thing to do.
All right, well, that's Charna Halpern, co-founder and former owner of Improv Theater IO. Charna, thanks for speaking with us today.
Thank you.